I am open to a whole flurry of things. What I'm not open to is a theory that Tyler Robinson didn't kill Charlie.
This whole Charlie Kirk assassination has just been off the rails from the beginning, and it's very unfortunate. It's unfortunate for those who were close to him, his family, his fans, people who knew him and worked with him. I can only imagine. But when did we wake up in a world where people are immune or exempt from investigations, criminal investigations? And I get it. It's uncomfortable. Nobody wants to be accused of being involved in a crime that they didn't commit. But if you didn't commit that crime and you're truly innocent and you have truth on your side, you should have nothing to hide. You should welcome the questions. You should be able to explain everything with a plausible explanation, and to say that you won't entertain any idea, any possibility other than Tyler Robinson being the shooter. Well, sorry, that doesn't fly in the criminal investigation world. Any investigator with their salt will tell you, you got to look at everybody. Even the least suspected person potentially has a possibility of being involved until excluded. Now, they can exclude all this. They could lay this all to rest and get all these conspiracies to shut up if they would release the first 10 seconds of the rooftop video of Tyler Robinson, if that's even him, running across the roof. Why wouldn't they show the initial moment he took the shot? One solid, no cuts, one clip from the beginning to the end. He takes a shot, he gets up, and he runs across the roof. Okay, now that's pretty hard to refute.
In the sun-painted picture, and the day turns.
But the fact that we know that video exists, and they aren't releasing it, when it would shut all the conspiracies down, that's very suspicious, very suspicious. And then not being able to question any other theories, shutting down any theory other than Tyler Robinson, that's not how criminal investigations work. That shows to me that they're pushing a narrative. They're pushing a particular outcome on the populace without showing conclusive proof. And I mean, a lot of questions. And so that brings us to this position where we are now. People don't believe what we're being told. And so we're asking questions in other avenues. And unfortunately, yeah, it revolves a lot around Turning Point and Erica, because these are the people that were closest to Charlie. They were with Charlie more than anybody. They knew Charlie. They knew the ins and outs and the most intimate sides of Charlie. All right? Statistically speaking, when murders happen, most of the time, there's somebody close involved, all right? But we all saw a shooter on the roof, so we're just going to take it at face value and say, oh, case closed. Well, if they would show the shooter taking the shot, then that would be acceptable. That would make a lot of sense. But the fact that they're sitting on those first few seconds of that video clip, that they're hiding something, and most people, I'm not saying everybody, but most people can feel that. They can sense that. When you're not caught up in these cliques and these groups and following and saying just whatever this person says because that's who I follow and I really like this person, or I like Nick Fuentes, or whatever. Use some common sense, guys. And I can tell you the common sense that from myself and the people that I know, this shit does not add up, not for a second. And the fact that we're being basically berated for asking questions, being called the scum of the earth. I mean, these attacks on Candace, because Candace is just trying to get to the bottom of who killed her friend. I don't see that there's anything wrong with that. And I would want anybody to do that for me in my position. I would want to know for sure that the right person is in jail. Right? Now, Tyler Robinson very well could have done that. But from what we're seeing, what's been presented to us, it doesn't make sense. Especially when they could sell us all on that theory if they would release those first 4 or 5 seconds of video. That would put it all to bed. And until they do that, you're not gonna get a consensus amongst the people. There's gonna be division. There's gonna be theories. There's gonna be all different avenues explored until we get to the end, until we get to that final point. And the other thing, don't discount the power of internet research of the power of the internet to solve a crime. It's happened before. And when you get a large audience all focused on one thing, the power of the people, I think, is underestimated by most. And that's what we're seeing happen now with Candace. And you may not like the way that she goes. It may seem just like hearsay, but it's necessary for justice to be served. I mean, it's just part of it. It's uncomfortable, I know. Nobody wants to think of the idea of Turning Point or Erica being involved. I hope to hell they're not. I really do. But right now, I mean, the way they're acting is very suspicious. And they should have the ability to lay all these conspiracies to bed. They should have done this weeks ago, months ago. But why are we left today with more questions than answers? And it's been a minute since this happened. And now we're being told that we can't even question Turning Point. We can't question Erica. I'm sorry. That's not the world we live in. And I would think that if they had nothing to hide, nothing to do with this assassination on any level, that they would have no problem answering any questions, being completely open and upfront about everything to help get this assassination solved. And if it's Tyler Robinson, well, goddamn it, let's get the show going and let's move on, right? But why sit on conclusive proof that's just going to leave the world asking questions? And yeah, I get it. There's an open investigation, but adding 4 seconds to the clip of him running across the roof after the shot, that's not going to... What impact on the investigation is that going to have? They're already telling us it's Tyler Robinson running across the roof, right? They're telling us he took the shot. They're telling us he's the one responsible. Why can't we see those first few seconds where he actually takes the shot, where we see a muzzle flash, where we see him with the rifle up over the roof aimed at Charlie? Show us that. That would lay everything to bed. But they won't do it. That's bizarre. That's so bizarre. And then Kash Patel acts like there's been zero investigations into any foreign operations or any other meddling along with this. This was Tyler Robinson. You know, they won't even entertain the idea of anything but Tyler Robinson. That is not how a criminal investigation is ran. Any investigator worth their salt will tell you cannot do that. Everybody is open to be looked at. All right, in this kind of a case, especially Turning Point and Erica. And I know it's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable. But nobody gets a free pass to not be looked at in this situation. You know, I don't care. Your husband, wife, daughter, it's all happened before. People suck, and we live in a real shitty world. I wish we could all assume that, yeah, there's no way that was Erica and be 100% accurate. I'm not saying Erica, like, physically did it, but I think there's some stuff that she knew about. I think that Turning Point knew some things that were going to happen. There's a lot of shady shit coming out with these text messages, and Charlie being afraid, like literally the day before, worried that he was going to be taken out. You know, has the FBI talked to these people? Who was he texting? Who was involved with these conversations? Have they done any follow-up to see why Charlie would feel like they're going to take me out? Because that's what he had stated. And it's pretty obvious that his feelings on Israel were starting to change. And now that's completely been X'd out. Can't talk about it. Charlie was 100% on board with Israel support, 100%. That's just not the case. That there is even more suspect when we have the videos, right? You guys, we're not stupid. The internet, it's hard to keep this shit. Once it goes online, it's retrievable. And so these videos exist. We know from Charlie's own mouth how he felt about Israel going up into his final days. And why is that such a forbidden area to look at? That doesn't seem to me like you've got a system that's looking for justice, that's looking for truth. Because ultimately that's what this is about, is truth. And I think that's all that's driving Candace's truth. And she sees this narrative that's been told to us. And she says, guys, this doesn't make sense. I can't just sit back and accept it and sleep at night and wake up and be okay and go on with my life. Because I've got common sense. and what's being told and what we saw that day, the facts are not adding up. The facts is there telling us. So release the video. Let's see Tyler Robinson take that shot on the roof. That video exists. We know it does. They've shown us the last half of it. We want to see the first part where he takes the shot, then takes off running. That should be so simple. An extra 5 seconds of surveillance video will shut all these conspiracy theories down. Why are you not releasing it? That's not going to have any impact on his upcoming trial. If, in fact, it's Tyler Robinson on that roof. Now, if it wasn't, if that guy didn't take the shot and he just happens to be on the roof and hears a shot and takes off running, well, we got some big issues. And I think that's why they don't want to release that video. And so that brings us back to the beginning. What the fuck is going on, guys? And don't come at us for asking hard questions that may be uncomfortable. And I'm sorry, Erica, your husband died, and I can only imagine how that must feel. But at the same time, if I had nothing to do with it, I would be an open book. I would say, come and look at everything. Here's what I know. We did this because of that and this because of that. Or, I had no idea what was going on with the finances. But you guys hide behind this social media wall where you only go on these programs that are going to ask basically no questions. They're just going to sympathize for you in your situation. And I get that. But we are not to that point yet. We're not to that point yet. We have not been given clarity, and I don't think anything close to conclusive evidence that Tyler Robinson is involved with this. And that's all we're after, is the truth. This isn't about Ben Shapiro or Erica or Turning Point or we like them. This is about the truth, whatever that may be. Now, I hope to God Erica and Turning Point have nothing to do with it. They very well may have nothing to do with it. And I hope that's the case. But let's get there. Show us. You have every ability to prove that and to put all these questions to bed. All right? And until you guys do that, we're not going to stop. Like Candace said, I will not stop. And where does that take us from here? I don't know. But I don't think for a minute that anybody should be exempt from being looked at or investigated. Nobody is above the law. Well, that is the definition of being above the law. Somebody who's immune or exempt from criminal investigation, even when there's a lot of suspicious shit going on and questions should be asked. If you can't ask those questions and law enforcement's not going to go down any other leads, you're above the law. And it seems like Turning Point and Erica Kirk are above the law in this whole fiasco. And it should be simple. There should be no different than any other investigation. But it's not. There's definitely some anomalies with this whole investigation and the way it's been handled. Not normal, guys. Not normal. All we want is truth. And until we get that truth, you're not going to see us shut up. I think people are going to keep pushing. And these things, time usually is the enemy's friend. And I don't know. It's been a minute since this has happened, and people, I think the discussion is more rife today than it's ever been. It's not getting mellowed down, and I don't see it until we figure out what the hell is going to happen. So keep asking questions, guys, and use some common sense. And I know there's a lot of stuff being said out there. Use your common sense, right? Don't take what somebody says just because you like them or you've listened to them for however long. I mean, because I've seen the division on all sides. I've seen people that I don't like having some common sense, and I'm kind of agreeing with them, and then I'm seeing people I do like going the opposite, and I can't take their take on this. So it's a really confusing time right now, guys. But use your common sense. All right, don't be a sheep. Don't be a puppet on a string, because that's what a lot of these guys are doing. Use your own head and demand truth, and that's what'll get it. Is when everybody refuses to accept this narrative until it can be proven. We need to keep demanding truth. And that's about all we can do.